Hey everybody, welcome into To The Point. Hope you're all doing well. It is Friday, March 31st. We are at the end of the month, and a lot to dive into on a Friday. It's been an interesting week in my life and the world of sports. So happy to go into April in a matter of speaking, for sure. Forward, so I'm excited about that. We also got Final Four weekend, NCAA women and men's college basketball, and I got to tell you, folks, looking forward to the women more than the men. I'm gonna watch both. Don't get me wrong. I mean, that's a given. I'm gonna watch both games. We'll watch everything, but the women's tournament has been superb. It's been phenomenal. I talked about it this week. The semifinal between Iowa and Louisville did a better rating than any NBA game this year. Women's college basketball, yeah. Better than any NBA game, if you can believe it. It's awesome. Great to see Caitlin Clark doing her thing on and off the court, NIL. You love to see it. Shamus is going to join me 20 minutes. We're going to talk about that. Going to get into a little NBA as well. Maybe talk a little WrestleMania. That's this weekend. You know, I grew up watching wrestling. Loved it. Super fan beyond. I thought it was real for a very long time, stupidly. I thought wrestling was real way beyond, Santa Claus. I'd figured that out by about age 6. And I was just kind of lying to my parents at that point for better gifts with their kids. Don't mean to spoil the secret, but play it off for a while. Still get some good stuff. Easter Bunny. I mean, come on. And that is coming up. I believe Easter is on the horizon, so that'll be fun. Easter. I mean, it's the Masters, so maybe it's a positive outlook on this, maybe. But Easter's on the horizon. Anyway, before I get off that, and I have my favorites. Edge was one of my favorites. I love Triple H. Rey Mysterio, the Luchador, was my favorite. But then I grew out of it as I got into high school a little bit. Didn't really check in on it in university. But over the last couple months, I've started to follow it again. I watched the Royal Rumble pay-per-view, realized with the Sportsnet Now subscription, I get the pay-per-view for free, which with the amount of subscriptions I have, I should get something for free, I'll tell you. Well, technically, I'm not getting for free. I'm paying for Sportsnet Now, but you catch my drift. I'm not paying for WWE Now or WWE.com, whatever the hell it is that they're making you pay for now, Peacock. I'm not paying the $60 for a pay-per-view. But now WrestleMania is a 2-night event, which it's a lot. But it's going Hollywood. It's at SoFi Stadium where the Rams-Chargers play this weekend. Sold out both nights. 79,000 people are going to this event. That's crazy. Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare, Roman Reigns in the main event. Rey Mysterio, still wrestling. Been wrestling since I was a kid. He's fighting his son, Dominic Mysterio. Interesting. So we might talk a little bit about that, a little nostalgic. Shamus and I, growing up, we both loved wrestling. We would watch pay-per-views together. We play with little wrestling action figures. We did it for a very long time. When I think about wrestling, it brings me back to Shamus. Was a part of our friendship, for sure. Sports, wrestling and everything in between. Of course, he's been my guy ever since. But it's cool that you still see, like, Cody Rhodes was fighting when me and Shamus were young. Now he's in the main event. He was kind of a little bit of a jobber, if you will, when we were a little younger. He was, part of Randy Orton's stable, and now I think he's going to win the belt this weekend, which, come full circle, his father, Dusty Rhodes, was a huge part of wrestling for a long time. His brother, Dustin, a.k.a. Goldust. So a family lineage of wrestling for sure. I mean, might get into that. a little more. But I want to start today with I watched a lot of baseball yesterday. And it's opening day, so you might say, okay, yeah, you're going to watch a lot of baseball on this day every year. Not always the case. There's a lot of sports going on. There's a lot of content. You could be watching different things. I'm binge watching The Walking Dead, which I don't know if I still should be watching, but I've watched like 4 seasons in 2 weeks. It's an easy show to throw on while you're watching something else. I'm on to like season 6 of The Walking Dead. Probably finish it at this point. Anyway, that's a whole other podcast. But I'm watching baseball. I'm reporting podcasts yesterday while watching baseball, and then after I watched for the whole day. And what I can tell you is this. The fun is back. Baseball is back as a whole. Yes, it's returning. It's the day. It's back. Yes, we have 162 games for every team. Yes, that's a fact. We know that. But I thought there was fun yesterday. I thought we saw movement, lead changes, fast games, frantic decision making, and I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. The product had gone so stale. It wasn't anything spectacular. You watched it and you left going, that was okay. It was like going to a restaurant and you wanted the steak a certain way and they kind of made it the way you wanted it to, but not really. Like, I like my steak well done. Now, it's not a popular opinion. I don't care. That's the way I like my steak. If it's not well done, I will send it back because I won't eat anything with red in it. But if you eat it, you're kind of halfway through eating the steak and you see that there's red in the middle, you kind of already ate half of it, so you can't send half of something back. So you're a little disturbed, you're a little upset about the meal, and that's kind of been baseball. You get through half the meal, and you're like, it's okay. Would I come back here? Probably not, but guess what? I was hungry and I had to eat. So it was what it was. It was a meal. It filled my stomach. But yesterday, it made me want to watch more baseball. The Orioles-Red Sox game, completely crazy, 10-9. Blue Jays, Cardinals. I thought each team was going to win the game 3 times. Neither of them could decide who wanted to win. No member of the bullpen can get an out. And then there's runs, 3 runs an inning. Base hit. It wasn't just home runs yesterday. How about seeing a base hit to left? Base hits to left are back, folks. It was awesome. Base running, hit and run, fast. Catcher's pissed off because they don't have enough time. I don't care, JT Realmuto. I like the new game. Commissioners get killed most of the time. Rob Manfred and Major League Baseball deserve a pat in the back, deserve a round of applause for this initiative. And the biggest thing for them is to continue on the path. Continue to have baseball played this way. Do not deviate from the plan because this is fun. This is entertaining. Last season, can you remember one big moment from last other than Aaron Judge? You know what I remember most about Aaron Judge last season? That it took him forever to hit the 60-second fucking home run. Remember that? 3-week chase, cutting into games. Aaron Judge going for 62. Yankees going to win the American League East. We've known it for 3 weeks. Who? Yankees fans. Don't really care about that. Friends with a couple of them, but don't particularly care. Okay, great. He did it. He accomplished the feat. But what other senile moment? You got to have movement in your sport, and fun was had yesterday. Frantic action, faster innings, And for maybe this will even out over the course of the season. But through one day of Major League Baseball, I'll tell you what, I don't think the pitchers think that this pitch clock thing is an advantage. Because how about yesterday? Alek Manoah, 5 earned runs. Miles Michaelis, 5 earned runs. Aaron Nola, 5 earned runs. Jacob deGrom, 5 earned runs. Manoah, Nola, and deGrom have either won a Cy Young or have been in the top 3 voting for a Cy Young. They all got lit up yesterday. They're all terrible. It's one start. They'll bounce back. But guess what? I love it. That Phillies Texas Rangers game. I watched like an hour and a half of that game. I would have watched 0 seconds of that game otherwise. And not every baseball game has to be 11-6. I watched the White Sox Houston game last night. It was 3-1, but I'll tell you, it was really entertaining because of the fast pitch clock. Because guess what? You just walk the batter. You have 2 on. You don't have a minute and a half to ponder the thought. You don't have a chance to pull on your dick 4 times, then look to the right, look to the left, and decide what you want to do with it. You got to go. The clock is ticking. You can't throw over 50 times. You can't step off the mound. Decision time. And we saw it in the games. Ryan Hellesley for the Cardinals shook in that 9th inning. He didn't have his catcher, Wilson Contreras, which is going to hurt him because Wilson Contreras is one of the best catchers in baseball, period. He was shook, but also, how about you have a 1-run lead? You're in the 9th inning. You need a save. He couldn't find the strike zone. I think he was nervous. I think he was rattled a little bit when he had a 4-pitch, pardon the slip there, to start the at-bat, and he didn't know how to recover. But frantic, constant action, that's what we want to see our athletes. Under pressure, David Bowie. You want to see them get them into some moments that they feel uncomfortable. What cream is going to rise to the crop? Whatever that stupid. Does it rise to the top? I feel like there's another saying in there. You think I'd know these old sayings because I'm a 50-year-old man in a 24-year-old body, but the cream's going to rise to the top, something? Anyway. Can't be that good a saying if I don't know what it is. Don't like cream. Never had any Topps baseball cards, so it's a stupid analogy. But anyway, who is going to be the best? Simply, who is going to step up? Who's going to wilt? Who's going to fall? And who's going to persevere? Yesterday was tough for deGrom. Was tough for Alek Manoah. Was tough for Ryan Hellesley. Tough for Josh Hader. And then you saw guys step up and have great moments. Paul Goldschmidt starts 0 for 2, then he gets a walk, and he gets 2 hits. You find your game. Sometimes you find it, sometimes you don't throw it a whole game. The great players can find it, right? But I'll tell you, that Blue Jays game against the Cardinals, opening day, that was an awesome game. And that game was over 4 hours, but I'll tell you this. That was worth a 4-hour watch. There would have been a 4-hour, 9-inning game last year that would have had so many ground balls just hit to the left. Okay, the shift is on. Okay, he's out. And it would have been not a remembered game. Nothing flashy about it. Nothing interesting. But it just would have happened. Yesterday left me impressed. And I left it wanting more. Now I'm going to the Wildcat game tonight. After the game, I'm getting on the highway and I'm bombing it home because I want to watch Caitlin Clark play South Carolina. But there's also the White Sox playing the Astros tonight that I want to see. I'll watch some of that. There's NHL games. There's a lot of different stuff. I got screens. I can get back, watch these events. But that's what the best thing you can have about your sport is say, wow, that was good. You know, I'll tune in again. That's why you think of great shows. You want your premiere to be rememberable, to be remembered, to be eventful. Because if it's a dud, is somebody going to come back? In our world of streaming and so much content, is somebody going to come back if your episode sucks? If it isn't that good, will they come back? I think that's why some people watch Better Call Saul, watch the first episode, didn't watch the rest of it. I'll agree. Wasn't that good for first episode? The show's fantastic. Come back. I'm telling you. Come back. But you think of the best shows. The Sopranos, the first episode, it made you want more. It made you want to keep watching. Get you interested in the story. It's like, wow, this is a good show. I got to keep watching this. The Office. Another one for me. I think got a really strong first couple episodes. You're like, well, I gotta keep following. It's so funny. I gotta keep watching this. And if you have a good start, your season, your show, whatever premise, whatever you want to put into this avenue, is likely to have more success. And I think baseball had a good opening day, minus this. And I didn't think about this until last night. I'm watching baseball all day. I'm enjoying it. I'm flipping back. I'm watching some of that Preds game. Last night, I watched the tail end of the Carolina Hurricanes game, which was frantic and crazy. What else was it? The Senators, pesky Senators, give them credit. Watching Matthew Tkachuk have a good. I watched a bunch of different games last night, but baseball was always in the background, and I watched a lot at the end of that Jays game. And anyway, I get to about 11 p.m. and I watching the Edmonton Oilers LA Kings game. Whew, fantastic. But then I see that the Angels are playing the Oakland Athletics. And normally you're like, okay, it's fine. It's a divisional matchup. That makes sense. But then you think, well, the Blue Jays played the Cardinals. Every team plays against each other this year. So there will be division series, but every team plays against everybody. San Francisco's in New York. Not exactly rivals. Texas is playing the Phillies. Not in the same division. Not a whole big history there. Not something that you make. Cleveland's in Seattle. Cleveland, AL Central, Seattle, AL West. And that, again, there are different avenues you could go here. In Major League Baseball decides we want to put the Angels, who they've known that Shohei Ohtani was their opening day starter forever. We're going to put them at the 11 p.m. start against the Oakland Athletics, and the game is in Oakland. Oakland did not have 8,000 fans last night. You could buy a ticket behind home plate in Oakland for just over $100. $100. Behind home plate. Less than 8,000. He goes out, 6 innings, 10 Ks, 3 walks. Great start. And he went 1 for 3 with a walk. He leaves the game, no decision. Aaron Loop, former Blue Jay, lefty, just a turnstile, gives up 2 earned runs. They lose 2-1. Such a classic Angels game, but my bigger picture here, Major League Baseball, why is this the decision? Why are you going with this game? It should not be Angels Athletics. The biggest star in your sport, the biggest baseball star in the world is playing at 11 p.m., 10 p.m. Eastern in Toronto, if we really want to get into the weeds here. But he's playing the Oakland Athletics, who suck, and yet you still lost to them. 1 game, I get it, not overreacting, but it's the Angels. But you lose to that shit team because they got nobody but Ohtani. Why is it an 11 p.m. start against this team? I get it if you want to play him against the Dodgers at 11 p.m. Cool. Dodgers played the Diamondbacks, too. That's a crap series from baseball last night. Diamondbacks stink. But athletics, the best player, two best players in your sport against them in Oakland, at least have the game in fucking Anaheim. Why? Why are you burying your product? Awesome day until I think about it and I'm like, why is he playing at this time of day? San Francisco was on the East Coast playing the Yankees at 2. Houston played Chicago on ESPN at 8 p.m. Why weren't they calling that game? He should have been playing somebody at that 8 p.m. slot. You want to give the World Series team the first game? Okay. Have a doubleheader. What else was ESPN putting on their coverage yesterday? Nothing. Anthony Richardson's pro day? Nope. It's NFL Network. No college basketball yesterday. Throw on 2 games. Have them go to Yankee Stadium, play the Yanks. Their bats were hot. Garrett Cole on hell of a day. But seriously, Oakland? Why Oakland? Texas would have been better. Even a divisional game, I'm fine with. Make it a decent team. Make it somebody you want to tune in to watch, not go watch Oakland and you see 95% of the stadium's empty. What garbage is that? How about have something from the game that's memorable? How about Adam Wainwright singing the national anthem for the Cardinals? Awesome moment. Awesome moment. That was a more memorable national anthem I've ever heard the last 20 years. The only thing here about national anthems is how it's such a thing for people to protest them. Is it sacrilegious for somebody who's not a professional singer to sing it? God forbid. Kick him out of the game. All fired up now. A good first day. I enjoyed it. The ball to the kneecap looked painful. I hope he's okay. Max Fried left to start for the Braves. That's troublesome. Hamstring. It's not an elbow injury or anything like that. We'll say the Blue Jays look good. The Blue Jays look good. Vladdy looks strong. Of course, Bichette, the first play of his airmails it. Not even close on a routine play. Sarah looks good, though. I'll tell you that for free. The Blue Jays look strong. The Yankees had a good opening day. Orioles squeaked by the Red Sox. Frantic game. Tampa won. Every American League East team won other than the Sox yesterday. Marcus Stroman had a hell of a first day for the Cubs. Then he told Dave Portnoy to suck it on Twitter. Love to see that. Love that. Eric Hosmer playing first base for the Cubs. That was a sight to see. Anthony Rizzo doing it at the Bronx still. But baseball is back. Happy about it. And as I said yesterday, I think baseball's got a 2 window here where they need to, kind of hit it out of the park. Pardon the pun. Because you got baseball, NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, the Masters is in there too. So a lot of people will deviate from baseball. It won't be the center of attention because there's just too much on to focus on baseball. So in the first 2 weeks of April, enjoy this. Enjoy what you can, the viewership, things of that nature. Get people excited to watch games. Because before you know it, it'll be in the background again. But the biggest thing for baseball, Wake Up's been lifted. if the product I saw yesterday is still chugging along this summer, I'll be more inclined to watch baseball. I'll be more inclined to, you know what? I got 2 screens. I'm watching the golf event this weekend, but I'm also going to flick on baseball. I can watch both. Or on a night where I could watch Succession or watch an episode or watch a game of baseball, maybe I'll turn on baseball. Those are the type of eyes I think you want to draw in. Establish your product now, and then have the ability and have people remember how fun it was in April so that they go back to it when their other means of entertainment aren't available to them. Hockey, when basketball are done for a few months. But good start, MLB, other than burying Shohei Ohtani, your biggest star, your best player. Couldn't do everything right in one day, of course. You know, I mentioned the other day the NHL was pushing me away. Not a whole lot of interesting storylines. The races aren't that compelling. But you have to acknowledge a few things. At least for me, over the last little while, watching games. I thought last night was a good night for the NHL. Some good entertainment. But I mentioned yesterday how Mark Stahl was a microcosm of the Florida Panthers team, where he is not half the player he used to be, and a huge part of why Paul Maurice lost it on his team the other night against the Toronto Maple Leafs. But the Florida Panthers are without both number 1 and number 2 goalies. Spencer Knight's in player assistance program. Hope he's doing well. Bobrovsky, don't know why. If it's an injury, if something's happening with him, I don't know. He is incommunicado. He's nowhere to be seen. He warmed up in Toronto, didn't play. Alex Lyon, former Carolina Hurricanes draft pick, was in the Calder Cup final last season, is not made back-to-back starts this week in Toronto, where he should have been the first star of the game, but they gave it to Matthews. Puzzling. And then Alex Lyon again last night in La Belle Province and allows 1 goal. Florida goes 4 for 4 in points in Canada. 2 things. Credit to Alex Lyon. He's an American Hockey League goaltender. Didn't know he was going to start. Stepped up and played huge. 3 goals allowed in 2 games. I don't care that Montreal's dressing an American League hockey team. They're a tough team to play against. Draft pick they're going to get. Raphael Harvey-Pinard does not care. He wants to make the NHL next season. Kosovic wants to make the NHL. Samuel Montembeault wants to be an NHL goaltender. They don't care. They're playing to win games and to earn roster spots. They're the definition of why it's hard to tank, because this team won't, because they have no incentive to do it. Roster spot. And in that case, Bedard certainly will. So that doesn't help them. Plus, they're competitive. But you look, Toronto is so far superior to Florida. Tampa is so much better than the Florida Panthers. They're just a team. And Matthew Tkachuk deserves more and more praise for his performance this season because of how crap that team is around him. Sasha Barkov is floating. He's not a dominant force this season. He hasn't been. He's a good player, but he hasn't been elite. Aaron Ekblad's on tour has been their second best player. Carter Verhaeghe stepped up his game. He could not. Fantastic for them. Fantastic. But all in all, and Matthew Tkachuk has more points Huberdeau and Nazem Kadri combined this season. The two big additions for the Calgary Flames, he's got more points than both of them. It's going to be tough because he's not going to get an MVP vote if they don't make the playoffs. And I don't know. Ahead of also has a game in hand. They play twice this weekend, tomorrow afternoon against the Boston Bruins. And then they play the Philadelphia Flyers on Sunday. I don't know what kind of roster Boston's going to put out there. They're resting guys every. So who knows what they're going to do when it comes to their lineup? Florida's got 6 games left. And also they play the Leafs in there. I think they play Tampa again. So they have a more difficult path. But third string goalies, crap around him. Matthew Tkachuk, who I think has been labeled not an elite player, not an elite talent. He's an instigator. He's not a great. He's at 100 points again on a new team after he asked out, and he's done it all. MVP of his team, not even close. Hat trick last night, 4 points. His brother's really good too, but how he impacts every game, not just scoring goals, but the instigating, getting to the front of the net, pissing people off. It's such a... It's so valuable because of it. He does it every night. And to me, Florida is likely not going to make the playoffs, but I'm so intrigued if he does get MVP votes. Because to me, it's hard to vote for somebody who doesn't make the playoffs. I'll be the first to admit it. I've said that many times before. But how could he have... Players have dropped around him. He didn't have Anthony Duclair for the entire year practically from a torn Achilles. Barkov had sicknesses and injuries, and Ekblad was out for a period of time. Bobrovsky, Spencer Knight. It's just been a Paul Maurice, nobody's favorite head coach. A calamity of errors around him, and he's weaved in and out of this. Come out the other side. Look, he's proved, okay, it's not just Hubert. It's not just Gaudreau. Well, he only had success because he played with Johnny Gaudreau. Oh, really? He's driving his line. He's driving the team. Johnny Gaudreau's driving the Columbus Blue Jackets into the NHL draft lottery. Was it really him? Elias Lindholm's on the Calgary Flames. They might... valued enough because there are so few of them. Tom Wilson gets the definition of being a dirty player. I don't think he's a dirty player at all. I think he's an aggressive player. I think he plays on the edge. But in our cookie cutter, you can't color outside the lines world, Man, he's scary. The Kachucks, they're both these prominent figures. They're both guys that are either loved or hated. You look at guys that are numbers people, they hate them because they throw checks and they get themselves out of position and they might take a penalty here and there. That I know will go into the battle than somebody that I need to prod to even consider going into that corner. Work ethic is a skill. Work ethic are traits that not everybody has. And that's why the Hymans, the Wilsons, the Kachuk family, to a lesser extent, Michael Bunt's not in that group. Don't know why I even mentioned it. Not Michael Bunting, but those four guys, Tanner Jeannot, that's why those guys are so prominent, are so important. Because they are unicorns. They are anomalies. And seeing Kachuk's season, seeing Rantanen's success, I'm happy that the power forward is having a moment again. And it's proving that playing physical, playing with an edge, still has a purpose, still has a place in the game. So all the nerds out there saying Matthew Tkachuk couldn't do anything because Johnny Gaudreau carried his line. Go watch a game in Columbus with the other 40 people down there and see how Patrick Laine's doing with Huberdeau. Let's bring in Shamus Fillmore. I'm sure he's one of those nerds who hates Matthew Tkachuk like the rest of the haters out there. But I was just mentioning Shay. Tkachuk, another Hattie last night. He's playing on a team that, quite frankly, is not very good. And he just continues to deliver no matter what kind of position he's in.
Yeah, he's the horse. First of all, sorry for the technical problems. I want to be on here right on time, right on cue, but old computer just won't let it happen today. So I'm on the old cellular device.
Okay.
Hope you can hear me okay.
No, you're good.
Grinding through on a Friday. No, absolutely. Yeah, he's been the horse that carrying that team. I 100% agree. I was listening to you before about Barkov and him having a down season. I feel like health is starting to spiral a little bit with him as he kind of starts to put in some years in playing that 200-foot game that he's so known for. But Tkachuk's really gave that team a spice of life, and I didn't realize that he's like amongst three players that have only hit 100 points after switching to a new team. I think it's like him. Oh, I can't remember that. There's him and two other players, but I was staggered. But that was it. And yeah, I mean, if a lot of people think that he is just an instigator, he is just a shit talker. Yeah, he does a lot of that, but he also backs it up with some really skilled play. And he makes his line better, which I believe right now he's playing with. I want to say Verhaeghe and Lindell or Listerainen. I mean, I watched a lot of that game and right up until about halfway through the third period, and he was great. He was all over the place, and he was really the key factor in them even being relevant, because I thought other than that line, then they really didn't have a whole lot going.
Yeah, and obviously Wednesday night they played your Leafs, and the Leafs were the far superior team, but Alex Lyon out of nowhere stepped up and was massive in that game. When it comes to your Leafs, they're doing a lot of tinkering. There's games left that don't really matter. But what do you make of all the tinkering and in particular with Miche, the D pairing, changing it every game, 7D, 60. I think over the last 8 games, whatever they have left here, they need to pick some D pairings and let them get some chemistry, because the other night I didn't think they had any, and it really showed against Florida.
Yeah, absolutely. And then even if you take that game, was the Florida the next gen game, or was there a game after that as well? I think that
Florida was the night Bieber was there.
Okay, so that was the next gen game. Yeah, I mean, it is strange. Like over the last, I'd say 10 games, it feels like they shuffle, they take guys out, they rest guys. They rested Morgan Riley for that game. Wouldn't be odd. They healthy scratched Justin Hall one game. I tweeted about that because I was happy. But honestly, I agree. Like, when is it going to start seeing some chemistry with your line? Like, what do you expect? Like, we just get to day one of the finals, and okay, we have our guys. Or are you gonna, is Dubas and Keefe going to keep shuffling them then too? That wouldn't make much sense, right? Like, you think about all the Stanley Cup winning teams and all the teams that make these deep runs. You have a set guy you play with night in, night out, and more times than not, it's the guy you figure out halfway through the season that I work best with. It was Jan Ruda to Victor Hedman. It was Dumoulin with Chris Letang. You know what I mean? These guys, they know how to play with each other, and then they learn that throughout the season. And I get it. Like, you're bringing in new guys like McCabe and Timmins once in a while, but like, often those guys should fit in and find a fitting spot right away, not be still shuffling like 15 games later, right?
Yeah, it's a weird, because they almost have too many guys right now. They have about 9D that they're trying to rotate in and out with Liljegren and Timmins, Shen. Who do you want Riley to play with? Because he's still not playing great, in my opinion.
No, I don't think he is either. He had a really, really tough game up there on Wednesday or Thursday. Yeah, God, I don't know. I almost love him to play again with Brody, but then you kind of take away from that Brody McCabe line that's been half decent lately. I mean, he could play with Liljegren, but then I also think about how difficult that can be, because I feel like a lot of times both of those guys are on for a lot of goals, and that could be a dangerous mix-up. If Liljegren could play more of a defensive role and worry less about playing in their zone just because they know Riley can do that, then that'd be fine. But yeah, I don't know. As of right now, I would want Brody to move back up, because I just don't trust Riley defensively enough to, make smart plays, honestly, which is, just awful to say out loud.
Yeah, I would probably go Brody with Riley, McCabe with Giordano, and then maybe Shen Hall.
You'd like to have Shen in the lineup, and even though he's not a
Oh, we lost here. Technology's been a little in and out today.
What's that? Sorry, can you hear me?
I lost you there for like 20 seconds.
Oh, sorry, I was getting an incoming call.
Okay.
But like I said, you need Shen in that lineup, and I especially think it's for the playoffs. So I could even see Shen maybe playing with Liljegren as a third pairing. I don't know. I have a whole lot of problems thinking Liljegren's going to be easy breezy in this lineup, but there are times he looks so good out there, but some of the down things just turn me away.
Bruins locked up the President's Trophy last night. Pasternak scored a beauty in overtime. When you look at the Bruins, I mean, it's been incredible all year long. Do you think that they're a juggernaut? Do they really scare you as a Leafs fan, or are you of the opinion that if the Leafs get them in the second round, if they win a round, get that momentum from beating Tampa, that it can be a series that your Leafs could take?
Yeah, realistically, it'd be too tough. It'd be tough. I just think with the goaltending they have right now, I'm thinking about the matchups they had this season. And yeah, Toronto's beat them this season, but Toronto also beat them when they didn't have Bertuzzi, when they didn't have Orlov, when they didn't kind of bolster their roster a little bit. Honestly, with the way our back end looks, I almost doubt that it's possible. You almost need a Vasilevsky type performance to get these guys, to get them motor through. But not saying that they can't I think toe to toe when it comes to offense and driving the intensity through that manner, I think they're absolutely matched with them. But in every other aspect, I think they're pretty much toast. And that's it's killing me to say that right now. I'm like basically chewing on my own words. But yeah, I think it's a big enough task that we're gonna have to play Tampa. And although Tampa's not maybe what they were a couple of years ago, they're still a great team, and I don't doubt that they're going to give you a hell of a run.
Yeah, good last couple games for Tampa, like 5-1 and 6-2 wins, something like that. And quiets the noise a little bit. They're starting. I think their best players were a little tired about hearing how they weren't that good. And Braden Point's got 47 goals on the
Unbelievable.
season. He's a little spark plug, the engine that could, definitely. For the Bruins, do you hope that the Islanders somehow get past? Because I think, to me, the Islanders are. I don't want to play them at all. I have no interest in. If I'm any team, I don't care how good I am in the NHL. The Islanders, I don't want to play. They frustrate the hell out of everybody, and I think if they play Carolina, I think they can beat them certainly in that first round. But I look at the Islanders as the ultimate wild card. Because they are a wild card team, but the wild card in the East to go on another deep run.
Yeah, I think of the Islanders like I think of Floyd Money Mayweather. They're all about defensive points, and that's how they're going to beat you. It's going to be a close match, but they'll beat you. Sorokin's great. I mean, he's a stellar goaltender. He's proven that, I think, all season. Love that he has come out of his shell, and he's really hatched as this dominant, number one force. No, I 100% agree. I think parts of the end of the season, they'd be playing Noah Dobson, who some people would consider, the average fan might consider their top D. He's been playing third pairing D because their other guys have just been playing so well. Scott Mayfield's up in the lineup. Alex Romanov's been up in the lineup. So, yeah, I think that they could give any team a really, really hard time just with that tight play. At the end of the day, what's been their problem all year? And it's been scoring, right? So, you know better than me. Where's Matt Barzal? Is his status back? Is he coming back soon?
I think they're hoping he gets a few games in before the playoffs.
Okay, so
maybe like that last week.
Yeah, so coming in like mid-April kind of. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's tough, right? Like he's a key part, and it's not like he's had a great year either. But they're going to need him. They're going to need him to play like he has in the past in order to get those couple rounds in, like they have been. So, yeah, I mean, for you, who's the key guy on that team that needs to play top notch and play like he can?
Obviously, Sorokin comes to mind, but I don't worry about him because I think. Just thinking if they play Carolina, and Carolina threw that game away, 4 seconds left, Jake Wallman scores a goal. Now they're only a point up on New Jersey. So maybe New Jersey finishes first. Like that's still very much a race. I would say Sorokin goes up against any goaltender of those teams. He's the better one. He's better than Vitek Vanacek, who's been fantastic all year long. He's better than Freddie or Korchkov, because we know Freddie, he'll grab his glute here in a day or two, and it's getting close to playoffs. He'll have an injury before we know it. A guy who was good for them a couple years was Kyle Palmieri. He's a quiet dude, but he seems to step up in big games. Parise's another guy who's been good this year quietly. He's got 21 goals playing on $1 million contract, so he's been a pretty good player. But I would say Barzal, you got Bo Horvat for a reason. He's been good. He's going to Long Island. How good could he be in the playoffs? Can he have an impact? Can he match up against Sebastian Aho and, saw off or be a little bit better than the opposing team's best player?
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's that depth that's going to count, right? And guys like Palmieri, guys like JG Pajot, like lock up, but also you have to dig in and grab some of these like greasy goals. But I think they can, absolutely. I'm kind of glad. I mean, I'm not glad that we're not getting the first spot, but if there was any team that I wouldn't want to play coming out of a wild card, it would definitely be Pittsburgh over the Islanders.
Because I think for Boston, they would love to get Pittsburgh.
Oh my God, yes. They match up so well against the Pittsburgh. Just because it would come down to a greasy like 3-2 game, and Pittsburgh has absolutely no clutch in their genes. There's no clutch in that team. There's no Michael Jordan. There's no Kobe Bryant. There's no clutch. And Boston has every clutch gene, I think, in the Eastern Conference right now. So,
yeah, Pasternak will find a way to score one. Certainly.
What? Get a question for you. We switch conferences here. Winnipeg. Are they just going to let this go? I know we talked about it last week, and I kind of jokingly said like, yeah, they were going to lose it. Now I'm looking at it, I'm like, God, they're losing 3-0 to San Jose. Like,
Yeah,
they actually, and I'm looking at their schedules. Their schedule is much tougher than Calgary's.
yep.
Much
Calgary's
tougher.
got, I think, 6 non-playoff teams in their last 8 games, something like that. Yeah.
Winnipeg's got to play Minnesota and Colorado the last 2 games of the season. So say it comes down to needing a point or two, and you've got those 2 teams humming at the end of the season. No way, no chance you're getting into the playoffs.
No. Oh, that's so sad, because the biggest thing I'm mad about, Shay, is that I still have to watch these stupid Calgary Flames. I hate them. I hate watching them. There's nothing I like about that other than Toffoli. I watch that team. Fundamentally, they're terrible. Their body language sucks. Jacob Markstrom flips out after he lets in 1 goal, and he's such a pissy guy. He pisses me off. But then they find ways to win.
Yeah, just enough.
Yeah, just enough to stay, because Winnipeg, Scheifele can't score, and Rick Bowness is calling. Now he's playing the wing tonight. So they're full panic mode there. Here's my thing, though. I agree with you about Winnipeg's schedule, but Calgary has the April juggernaut twice on their schedule. And the April juggernaut, the Vancouver Canucks, because they start playing hockey when they're out of it every year. They play the best in March, April, when you know they're not going to make the playoffs. They're humming right now, Shay, Vancouver. They score 5 goals a night. Kuzmenko might as well be Alex Ovechkin. Your boy, another little Russian import, playing well. Might score 5 next year. We'll see. Pedersen playing like an all-elite talent. Quinn Hughes stacking up the points. JT Miller, competent. Brock Besser showing up. Way to go.
Yeah.
It's
frustrating.
Calgary's got Vancouver tonight. I don't know if they win that game, because I'm being facetious, but also Vancouver is playing really good hockey right now.
Yeah. It almost makes up for Kuzmenko not wearing the Pride jersey tonight. It's like no one cares because he's playing so well. You know what it is? All the boys got to hit their bonuses, their April bonuses for the end of the season, so they're going to play their hearts out. Yeah, no, that is frustrating. And I didn't take them into consideration. I forgot how well they play during this time of the year. So Calgary could be in a little bit more hot water than I actually expected.
Did you know this fun stat that Tkachuk has more points than Huberdeau and Kadri combined this year?
I heard you when you were talking about it earlier. That's staggering. Because I think they both have like 50 or around 50, maybe.
Around 50, yeah.
Yeah, that's.
I think Huberdeau's got less than 50. Yeah.
And they're going to make a combined $17.5 million next year for 100 points.
But let me ask you this. One teams, they pulled it out last night. Daniel Sprong, our guy, another goal, 20 on the season. They have everybody on their team has like 15 to 20 goals. It's impressive. But if you're, say, Vegas wins the Pacific, that's still going to be a race, though, because they're playing like a 3 goalie system right now because he's hurt and Brossois is playing and Quick can't make a save. But nevertheless, let's say Vegas wins the Pacific.
Okay.
Calgary or Winnipeg get hot, they could beat Vegas to me, because I think Vegas is weaker than LA and or Edmonton.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of faith in Vegas. I don't have a lot of faith in the slot machines. Calgary would be an interesting matchup because I think the goaltending on both sides is both shady.
Mm-hmm.
The decors are both okay. They're not great, but they're both okay.
Right.
But then, I don't know.
Toffoli's so good now. He gets better in the playoffs normally.
Who's that?
Toffoli, who's been their best player all year, and he gets better seemingly in the playoffs. And you got guys like Dubé's kind of like a playoff guy. Like, he seems to step up in the playoffs. They have guys that I think they'll be a tight checking, just boring team. Daryl Sutter, and maybe it'll click, if they get into that mode.
He plays Huberdeau on the fourth line, maybe.
And Vegas does a lot of stupid stuff. They
big time.
they play really lax and they don't really care. So I worry about them a little bit, but I think who do you think would be a tougher opponent, Winnipeg or Calgary?
I would say if Winnipeg
Hellebuck's tough.
if
He gets
Winnipeg
hot.
it's this thing. If Winnipeg turned on the Jets, they have the better goaltending. I think overall, I think their top 6 is phenomenal.
It's better than Calgary.
Like, yeah, I'd have to say Winnipeg, although, and they can play the checking game too, right? They've got big bodies. Your boy, Adam Lowry, the unicorn, you love him.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd be scared. I don't love Nate Schmidt, but
if
there are
Ehlers
guys.
Woke up.
He's been sleeping for a month now.
Yep.
He's the guy who came in. He got an injury, played lights out for what seemed like 3-4 weeks, and then went back to sleep. And it just hasn't found his game since. And, before I feel like Bonus got this team motivated, and I don't feel like he's got this team motivated in a long time, at least this half of the season.
No, clearly something's missing because, like you said, it's 3-0 against San Jose, just a complete no-show. And
I doubt they'll beat Detroit tonight. Honestly, I have very little confidence that they can pull out a win versus Detroit.
Yeah, because Detroit, Husso is likely because Nedeljkovic started last night for Detroit, the third stringer. So, maybe it's Husso tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Calgary and Winnipeg both play. I think they play almost every night together the rest of the season, which is good for tracking that and looking at the
I agree
playoff implications. So that'll be fun. But yeah, Sens aren't going to make the playoffs, but they're one of the funnest teams to watch. Every night seems to go to overtime. They score a bunch of goals. I give them credit, and their play in the last month and change might keep their GM and coach employed.
Yeah, I agree in the sense that they are fun. They're fun to watch. Their power play is just so intriguing, especially like they move it really well. It's just, goaltending. It's the fact that they've traded. Like, we're going to look back and say that they traded, and I owe you an apology. I didn't realize last week how great Gustafson's been playing. So a little click for you there. I was totally unaware of that he's been carrying the team for what feels like the last couple months. But the fact that they traded Talbot for him is just looking worse and worse every time. The Ottawa Senators letting it go. Yeah, I agree. I think DJ Smith's job is probably safe. I feel like they're going to give him this. I feel like they give him next year, and that's probably okay. If you don't make the playoffs next year, that's it. If it's absolutely coming off the rails, I say at the beginning of the next year, I wouldn't be surprised if they fire him and get another coach.
Yeah, it could be a quick firing. If a new ownership group, maybe they'll have a coach like on retainer, if you know what I mean. And they'll just have him sitting there, seeing who gets hired this offseason, who gets fired type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Looking ahead, just on the fly here, any coaches that you think are a lock to be fired?
A lock to be fired. Oof. I love those ones. It's usually how many are keeping your job. No, I was going to say him, but their team's doing well this year.
To me, the one that popped up that's easy is John Hines in Nashville.
Ooh, yeah, new group coming in.
Yeah.
He's gonna have a new GM. Yeah, I could see that one. That's a good point. That's a fair point. Yeah,
Columbus is still gonna suck, and they don't want to spend any money, so I think they'll keep Larson behind the bench.
What about Berube? It's been clashing this year between him and the team.
Yeah, I think he's done.
He's a guy that would be easily accepted in another team, but I just feel like it's run a little long. Like, his message is run a little long. Him and Thomas, obviously, like, when you're battling with the future stars of the team, I mean, obviously that's not a great sign of how a working relationship's gonna be.
Right. Torts?
I go back and forth. He's the first name I thought of, but then I'm like, they just hired him for a year. I don't know, and he's another guy who doesn't get along with his stars. The Kevin Hayes, the Travis Konecny's of his team. They don't like each other.
Yeah,
I don't know. I could see Torts maybe getting axed this season.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough to see. Obviously, it's good bites for the league. He does some great things, but ultimately, you came in and it was just a shit show from the very beginning of the season.
Did you see he was in the press box last night watching the game, not coaching?
No, I didn't. What was the
He was
reason?
sitting with Danny Briere.
Really?
Yeah, it was strange.
That's so the assistant just kind of picked it up.
Yeah, seemingly.
Oh, that's that's quite the move. God, yeah. I mean, there's always going to be coaches that are going to be on the move. There was a carousel last year, and I think there'll definitely be some movement this year as well.
Did you watch any of the Oilers Kings last night? Too late.
Yes, it's too late.
Yeah. That's a hell of a game.
Okay. Clicks to Jeff, my boy Jeff Skinner though. That was 43 shutty save. That's something to like if you're an Edmonton Oilers fan, especially a team that you look like you're going to play in the playoffs, guaranteed.
Yeah, I left that, and that was fun. I hope they play in the first round again. The Deneau, Trevor Moore, Arvidsson line was going. You had Byfield, Kopitar, Kempe, Leon Draisaitl. Over the last 10 games, he's playing at another level again.
Yeah.
Because McDavid's already so great, but like Draisaitl might finish with, say, like 10 to 15 more points than the third guy in the league. Like he's playing that well right now. It's incredible how good he is, and I still don't think he's appreciated enough.
Oh no, absolutely not. It'll always be the Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen discussion because you just have someone who takes up so much air in the room, and a guy like McDavid, but you're doing so well, and I think that's the biggest difference is when he's playing like this. Look how much better the team is overall. Like it's not that he had a bad season or anything was going wrong, but they've won like I want to say 8 or 9 out of their last like 10, 11 games.
Yeah.
And it's large in part because he's just upped it to another level and making everyone around him that much better. I mean, his passing ability is sometimes second to none in the league. And that's saying a lot when you're playing next to with Connor.
You must be on cloud 9 today with the Celtics drubbing win last night.
Yeah, besides waking up with a little bit of a sore throat, I was pretty happy. What was it, like 50 points? A 50-point victory?
Yeah, it was almost. Yeah, I think it was 41.
Selfishly, it wasn't the game I don't think anyone wanted to see. I think everyone wanted to see that playoff style close game, right? But and then when I turned back to a Celtics fan, I'm like, yeah, I want to see beat the shit out of Milwaukee, who's in first place and who arguably will have to get through again in the Eastern Conference to get back to the finals. So yeah, no, it was great. It's always nice seeing Robert Williams not be a starter. It's nice seeing him play. Don't get me wrong, but they're easing him into coming back because I think when you think back to the playoffs last year, he got into the role. He was a starter right before the playoffs came in. He was a starter then. He played too much, and ultimately he was just hurt the entire time. Now we're easing him back a little bit. Al Horford can eat those minutes until he's good, but even as a role player, he had 7, and 4 blocks last night. Nothing wrong with that.
Who comes out of the starting lineup when Williams is back?
You mean like when he's fully, like when I think he's ready to go, kind of? Well, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Because right now you have White, Smart, Tatum, Brown, and Horford. I think, man, it's tough. I think you almost got to take Smart out.
That's my opinion too. He's not going to like that.
He's not going to like that. But if he wants to win, he's got to be a team player. Like that's White's playing good. He's had a great second half this season, and he doesn't always play starters minutes, but having him as a starter just 9 minutes in the game. Okay, now we can put Smart and Brogdon in, and look how well they play, and look how well our second unit does, right? So I just think it's much more effective that way. I like having Al as a 4 because he stretches the floor a little bit more. He has the 3 ball to him, which has been really good. So yeah, that would be my ideal situation. Keep Smart on the bench, have some things happen.
Yeah, and you can still play him in crunch time minutes if he warrants it. If he's playing well, then Derek White can come out. But I even think Derek White should be playing more in the tight games in the late minutes. And Missoula's gone to Marcus Smart, but I think he loves firing off those shots.
Oh
And he
my
does,
God.
he
That's the problem,
he's
right?
got that Julius Randle in him.
That tough news seeing that guy
Mhm.
go down too, by the way. Really,
Yeah.
really want to
Yeah.
see him in the playoffs. I know it's not hopeful, but if he does make it back for the playoffs, that'd be an ideal situation. Yeah, no, Smart. He does like knocking them off. If he could just get in his head that he is not a clutch player, I think he'd be so much better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if you really just were like, okay, I have to get it to Brown or Tatum, like those are the two guys that are my designated guys. I can't jack the shot up because there's a good chance I'm not making it. But I don't know. He's got that confidence in him. He's got that dog in him.
Yeah, he's got something in him. If Dallas misses the playoffs, finish that sentence.
Dallas misses the playoffs. I think Luka's going to say, I can't play here much longer. I like you, Cubes. I can't play here much longer. Yeah, we talked about it this week. He looks unhappy. Yeah. He's pressers. He doesn't look satisfied playing there. The smile that's always on his face when he's on the floor, he's not happy with that. I think he loves the grind. I think he loves the competition. But, you know, this is a guy, and also all this saying that I would be shocked if Luka went back to a conference final. And that's maybe a little bit of a hot take. But I think with the way the West Conference looks this year and knowing him and what he can do, I wouldn't be shocked if he could do it again and get back to the conference final. But if they do miss, I think he's saying, what the hell are we doing? We're wasting my talent, wasting my glory years. Get me the hell out of here. What are your thoughts on
that? That's another level of like self-loathing. Like the play-in. That's 10 teams in each. Like it's hard to miss the play-in.
Yeah. You got to be trying to miss the play-in. You got to be the New Orleans Pelicans.
Right. Yeah. Well, big win last night.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, I won't take that from him. How bad does Denver look without Jokic on the floor? You want to talk about that a little bit?
They don't even look like a playoff team.
I think the biggest difference between Jokic or the Denver being a number one and Milwaukee being a number one is when Giannis isn't on the floor, Milwaukee is sometimes just as good as a team. If not, they're at least capable of floating some of the better teams. When Jokic is not on the floor, they look like they're playing. What's that called? They look like they're playing at the Y. Like they look like they're going down and playing at the Y most nights. Like pathetic.
Yeah, they don't have a whole lot of intelligent basketball players other than Jokic. I find it's a team that needs his brain,
absolutely,
and obviously his ability as well. But I think he uses his brain a lot in that team. How about we give it up, Sacramento Kings? The drought is over. Light the beam.
I can't clap. Oh wait, I guess I can clap.
Light the beam. First time since 2006. The Kings are making the playoffs. Maybe 2 seed, maybe 3 seed. Lock it up. I mean, Mike Brown, De'Aaron Fox, Sabonis.
Keep it going.
I mean, everybody. Tariq Davis.
Keegan Murray.
Still got it. Keegan Murray, Rookie of the Year. No, Banchero. But, Keegan can shoot a 3, I'll tell you. This team doesn't play any defense, but they can score with anybody. And what I want, Shay, just as pure entertainment, Sacramento, Golden State, first round. That would be lovely. So fun.
Yeah. Kind of like the passing of the torch, maybe.
Yeah.
Who knows?
150, 148.
Bet the over every game.
Every game, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's crazy to think that they're not just making the playoffs, but they're actually like succeeding in their conference, which is strange to talk about.
3 seed in the West.
Like, if anyone would have said a year ago that this same team is going to do this, you would have got strange looks. You might have been put into a restraining vest and put into an asylum because there's no one who would have thought this was going to happen. Not this quick, certainly. And to think that the Sabonis trade for Halliburton was a good one. A lot of people thought it was a stupid trade. I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I just because we were giving him Halliburton, who I think is an excellent guard and a future, star in the league. But absolutely, it's paid itself 100 times over.
Final Four this weekend. You looking forward to it? You're gonna watch? Do the teams not excite you? What are your thoughts on the NCAA Final Four?
I said I was happy with UConn getting in. That was a team that I rooted for since the very early in the tournament. I'm still happy that they're in there. I don't think I did very well last week when we were talking about our picks. Some little upsets there. The only one I was happy about was Creighton getting at least to the Elite Eight. So
right,
take my wins where I can. No, there's some good ball to be played. Your Florida Atlantic. I mean, can we talk about them for a second?
Woo-hoo, the Owls.
Like, yeah, the Owls, and their 7'1" Russian out there.
Yeah,
it's it is exciting. I mean, it is interesting to see, and anyone who doesn't want to watch that, I mean, whatever, man. This is what this tournament's about. It's about upsets. It's about teams and schools that don't normally get here finding a way to succeed. There's no 1 seed, there's no 2 seed. So what? This is what college basketball is. It's about upsets, it's about underdogs, and it's about teams with passion and flair coming hot at the right time. And that's exactly what happened with Florida Atlantic. My Final Four is going to be San Diego State and UConn, just because I did ride with the Huskies a little longer, and I think the Aztecs are a good team. But yeah, I mean, good for them. I have a couple questions for you. Who had the toughest of the roads to get here out of these 4 teams?
Good question. Florida Atlantic beat Memphis. Then they beat Fairleigh Dickinson, a 16.
Yep.
They beat Tennessee, a 4. Then they beat Kansas State, a 3. You had your Aztecs. They defeated Charleston. They then went on to defeat Furman, a 13. They beat Alabama, a 1. And Creighton, who was a 6. I'm going to say Miami, Shay, looking at it here, because Miami had to get by Drake, which is a 12, no big deal. But then they crushed Indiana. They beat a 1 in Houston, and then they beat a 2 in Texas.
Yeah, I would say the same.
The Hurricanes, and I think the Miami UConn game, that might as well be the national championship game, because I think whoever wins that game will win it all.
I agree.
No matter who wins on the other side. Yeah,
some really dominating performance. I mean, they've been just so stellar offensively. Like they've yet since the Sweet 16, they've yet to score under 80 points.
Yeah,
their guards are phenomenal, and they play just so well together. I'm talking about Miami, by the way, not UConn.
Yeah.
Is that Isaiah Wong? Is he a player? Is he a guy you can see fitting in an NBA role, or is this kind of his last hurrah? I know he's kind of at that senior age.
I think he's a good player. I think he can get buckets, certainly. I almost think Jordan Miller might be the better prospect, though.
Oh yeah,
he's a good ball player. Even Nigel Pack, I like a lot. I think he can be a versatile player, be a good defender. But I think there's some NBA guys this weekend, like Jordan Hawkins for UConn. He's really impressive. Yeah. He's a 3-and-D guy, and he can play. Even the big man, Sanago, he had 6 assists in the Elite 8 game, and he can pass while in the paint. I think we're going to see a resurgence of big men who can do it a little bit of everything. Maybe have an outside shot, but also be able to distribute. You see Jokic, Embiid is a pretty good passer for his size.
Yep.
I think there's a place for that. So I think there's some NBA players that will be playing this weekend.
Yeah, no, I agree. Excuse me. What player of the tournament has your MVP vote right now out of all those guys?
So, yeah, just based on getting to this point, I would probably say probably Hawkins or Miller.
Okay.
UConn or Miami.
Yeah, it'd be Hawkins for me. It'd be Wong or Hawkins for me, but yeah, I'd probably lean towards the Husky. He's put his team over the edge every time he's on the floor, and he doesn't make many stupid mistakes.
Yeah.
He makes
He's
mistakes.
a smart player.
Yeah, I agree. Do you take any MLB yesterday on opening day?
Oh, I watched a lot. I said to start the show, I think the fun is back. I loved it. Yes, I thought the product was great. Other than them burying Shohei Ohtani playing at the Athletics.
Yeah, that was a bad opening day.
Oh my God! But I thought it was fun. It was chaotic. There was lead changes in a bunch of games. I thought it was a really good start for baseball. What say you?
Yeah, I watched the Yankees game and I watched a lot of the Blue Jays game, and both were entertaining. I know it wasn't close with the Yankees, but Garrett Cole pitched a really, really good game.
Yeah.
And, there was, like you said, a lot of good things happening around the league. That Blue Jays game was entertaining. Not a lick of great pitching was involved, but a lot of hitting. So if you like that, that's great too. And overall, the speed did feel good. I mean, it was nice that guys got up there, they got their business done, and there was no dilly-dallying. And I think that's going to be a positive thing that reinforces what the league needs in quickening up these games.
Right. You gonna watch any of the women's Final Four?
I'll have it on, maybe put it in the background. I don't have a lot going on this weekend. It's gonna be a really quiet weekend.
On
probably
tonight.
gonna stay off the sauce. Oh, is it tonight? Oh, okay. Then yeah. I'll probably, if it's tonight, then I'll probably put it on a little bit.
10:30. Iowa, South Carolina. Caitlin Clark against the undefeated South Carolina Gamecocks.
10:30 tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I'm awake by then.
What is with you now? 10:30 bedtime.
I'll be honest. Your boy here sick all week. Had pink eye at points this week. I was not in great shape. I'm not gonna lie. Battled through. That's partially why we're doing this on a Friday, not a Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm feeling better now. But if I'm still up by then, I'll flick it on for you. Anything else you're looking forward to this weekend? And there'll be a ton going on.
Yeah, the Final Fours, Valero, Texas Open. Keep my eye on that. Golf last weekend before the Masters. Some NHL action. Gonna keep watching some baseball. WrestleMania Saturday and Sunday night. I think I'm gonna watch a little bit of that.
Yeah, I saw the cards. Who are you most excited to see coming from the past?
Yeah. Well, I was saying Rey Mysterio is being inducted into the Hall of Fame this weekend, but he's also fighting his son.
I saw that. I didn't know. I saw the name, but I don't know. So his son's named Dominic. I have it up in front of me right now. That's why I'm looking to my right here.
Well, do you remember when we were kids and there was that match between Eddie Guerrero and Rey for the custody of Rey's kid? Yeah. It was a ladder match. That was Dominic, little Dominic. Now he's a wrestler. Okay.
Yeah. And now he's a wrestler and hates his father. That's interesting. A little tie-in.
This is what I think's going to happen. I think Rey's going to fight Dominic. Dominic's going to go over. He's going to win the match. And Rey's going to retire and give Dominic the mask. He's going to take the mask off. Okay,
calling it right now. I like it. I like it. I'll check. And that's night one. So I'll check in back with you.
You also got Edge. Edge is on there. Hell in a Cell match. Those are always entertaining. Our guy, when we were kids, he was with Randy Orton, part of the legacy, but Cody Rhodes is in the main event.
Yes, I see that against Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
The new guy. He's the man. Roman Reigns has been the man for quite a while, hasn't he?
3 years champion.
Cody. I hope Cody wins just for our sake. He's got the blonde hair going. He looks good. I mean, he looks sharp.
Yeah, I know. He looks good.
Lesnar's in this too. I can't believe he's still in this.
Yeah, he's fighting a 7'2" huge guy.
Monster.
Almost. Yeah, and also a couple Canadians, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, are headlining night one for the tag team titles against the Usos.
I love it.
So, followed wrestling a little more since the Royal Rumble. I don't know everything. I don't watch every show. I track it some, but you kind of appreciate really good matches now and just the athleticism. Before when we were kids thinking it was real and everything like that. But I will say they go through hell And their bodies are beat up, man. Like some of these spots that they have to go through, I can't even imagine.
Yeah, I mean, think about these guys who've been in this industry for nearly 20 years. Like even John Cena's still fighting again, and he's in the first matchup. So like, I mean, it's a sport that even if it is scripted, even if it's on the fly, you still have to be in unreal shape to be in it. So I have an appreciation for that. You're still an athlete in every asset, every manner of that word, and unbelievable. And like you said, I mean, that Hell in a Cell match, like guys going over top of it, going through it. I mean, you can't script that. That's real infliction on your body every time.
Yeah, certainly. Well, get better over the weekend.
Thank you.
We'll talk to you next week. Treat that pink eye and the sore throat, and we'll talk to you next week.
Yes, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll talk to you next week for the Masters.
Hello, friends.
Hello, friends.
We'll chat then. There's Shamus. Great to chat to him on a Friday. Should be a fun weekend. Final Four, NBA, Major League Baseball, WrestleMania, NHL, Women's Final Four. Lots to watch, lots to absorb and consume. That's it for today. Got to get out of here, get on the highway, and head to Moncton to watch the Bécamo Draka and the Moncton Wildcats. So that's what I'll be doing right after this. But I'll be back with you guys on Monday. Have a great weekend. And as always, this is to the point.